Alright guys, welcome back to the Regal Gentleman YouTube channel, the Regal Gentleman Studio. Today we've got Caspar in the chair. How are you, mate?
I'm good, thanks.
Good. I'm very well, mate. I'm very well. So, what are we doing? What's the plan?
I'm looking to take kind of some of the length out, maybe get some layers in there. Something a little bit like a younger Johnny Depp sort of thing.
Okay, yeah.
My hair's quite fine, so I feel like possibly I might need to go shorter than I was like kind of hoping for to get a bit of like choppiness into it, so it has a bit more texture to it.
Okay, yeah, sure. Now, how young Johnny Depp are we talking?
Sort of 90s.
Alright, have you got any photos? Or have you got any ideas that you...
Yeah. So in terms of like...
That's not our YouTube channel, what are you doing? You don't...
Yeah, that's
you can't be showing us rival YouTube channels.
That's why.
I'm only joking.
But in general, that kind of way that the difficulty is that I know that it kind of has a bit of a wet look, and having kind of fine hair, if it has a bit of a wet look, it can start to look a bit thin. And so I'm kind of open to suggestions on that, but that's sort of what I was thinking. My hair is, I've got a little bit of stuff in it at the moment, but my hair is really, really straight.
Sure. Yeah, it is, yeah. Can you take your mask off a sec for me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm down for recommendations based on my like...
Yeah, okay. Face shape's good. You got that youthful look, mate. You know, it's good. You've got very pronounced jawline. Don't have to try and create a jawline, you know, unlike mine. That's why I like wearing a mask. A very covered mask today. The one that'd suit you a lot is the Sauvage. Is that how you say it? Please don't mock me if that's the one. Yeah. Sauvage, however you say it, right? That advert with his hairs, I think you'd suit that a lot. Because that is almost young Johnny Depp hairstyle on old Johnny Depp. Yeah. If you know what I mean. And again, we are not going to just pick one style. We're going to look through a few different ones that we can actually, you know, talk about and pick a little bit. Yeah,
the thing for me is like just trying to find, because I do like that. My thing is, say at the moment, because I actually don't like having my hair all pushed out my face.
Yeah.
I kind of like having it a bit falling down. At the moment, I feel like in too much, it's too long. If it's coming down, it's a bit ridiculous.
Problem is, you've got such a low hairline as well. That is the only downside for having it on your face. Because if you were to have a fringe, it'd be that long. Because that's how low your hairline is. Do you know what I mean? As in, like, if it was to fall down your face, you'd be looking about that much off. Yeah. Realistically. Is that?
Yeah, that is a lot of what I kind of wanted in the Johnny Depp thing. My only thing is that, you know how it almost looks a bit wet, which is what I'm talking about. That's kind of what I want. Yeah. But I just worry that with my kind of slightly finer hair that it may not work.
See, the reality is that's a photo shoot done for a specific one-off. Like that photo, don't forget how fast the lens captures an image, right? That he could have just turned and got the perfect image, right? He probably wouldn't, I mean, you wouldn't be able to walk around with it set like that. It's like when people bring in pictures of David Beckham, there's one famous David Beckham picture where his hair's just fallen at an angle. And I guarantee you, there's been a guy with a hairdryer like this under here, and about 1,000 shots have gone off in about 10 seconds to capture that amazing image. But essentially the cut can be done like that. So that's the Sauvage. See, that's the Sauvage. That's not dissimilar to what that haircut is though, mate. Yeah. That's why I was trying to think of the Sauvage one off that advert, because that would suit you better. Yeah. You could go short on the sides, but I think that disconnection is better than the disconnection you've got now. Because it mainly is just the fringe disconnected and everything else is balanced. That one, what we've just looked at, that is essentially that haircut, just a bit longer. Yeah. You know, he's always had a very similar hairstyle.
Yeah, that for example, especially, I mean, obviously got a bit of product in it.
But that was probably mousse and gel back then, wasn't it, really? I don't think there's anything amazing in that. I don't think there was anything perfect, but that is quite separate. Do you know what I mean? Look at his hair, that is very, like, even pomade-y. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But look how high his hairline is. That's the only downside. To try and make it work for you, the hairline is almost like probably maybe a third higher than yours. That's why he can get away with wearing his fringe down. It's cut for a lot of reasons. You know, a lot of haircuts on celebrities are cut to work for what they've got. You know, it's just like you becoming famous tomorrow. Like if we done a cut to suit your face, people coming into me going, I want to look like Caspar. The reality is we've done that for you. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's the reality for them. It's cut for their hairline, their hair shape, head shape, face shape, hair texture. So that's the hardest thing about doing a celebrity's haircut when you're much younger than them and you've also got a different hairline to them. Yeah. Okay, that is the only downside. But nonetheless, we can still create that look. Essentially what it is the fringe is disconnected to everything else. Okay, I mean, it is still longer through here, but what you've got at the moment, you've got a full disconnected centre part. All Johnny Depp really has is the fringe disconnected and everything else is kind of balanced in and a lot shorter. You know, that's the kind of way he kind of wears it. It's just a little bit like that. You know, it's not perfectly in the center. It just falls down. But obviously you can't see that right now because you've got all this.
Yeah.
If that was taken away, you'd see it more like that. You start to see the haircut more. So if we were to cut it, essentially based on Johnny Depp's 90s sort of younger version, like maybe the 80s or whatever, but even moving forward into what he's got now, which is basically the same. But I think his hair is probably more like yours now because he's got older. It's probably a bit thinner. Yeah. So it's probably more gonna, even the colour looks very, very similar. I think if we were to use that as inspiration and utilise the bits that are in that haircut, which is what even the video you showed me as well, it is based around that, loosely based, right? But essentially that is the way he wears his hair. If you think about that picture we just seen in the black and white photo, it's kind of really wet, scrunched up, and it all falls like this, right? Yeah. You can't do it and it's dry, but essentially it's scrunched up and it's all falling forwards like this, right? It will be better when there's no hair here, all right? Well, not on no hair, but there's not as much. So I think if we cut it based on that haircut and then we match it up to your bone structure on cheeks, your hairline, it'll look banging. Yeah, it will. Really good. All right, man. Let's gown you up and let's get you started. I'm excited for this one. Awesome. All right, man. Thank you. So I'm going to start, and this is a very bespoke haircut, okay? I'm going to start by working in a horseshoe section, essentially. Now, are you happy for me to take the sides and the back around the ears, or do you want to leave it on the ears?
No, I don't mind going kind of short around.
I'd take it off the ears, personally. I think it will work better. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start at a session point, okay? Just here. Now, there is a lot of length here, but do not worry. That is the sides and the back of his head. And that's the thing, that's the difference. When people leave an undercut on the sides and you start taking loads off, it looks as though you're really removing loads of length, but actually that's the top. So I'm not actually going to cut into anything, so it's fine. Now the 90s was very round. It was at the point when it transitioned from men's hair to kind of like hairdressing, like unisex salons. That was kind of the vibe around the 70s, 80s and 90s. There was a lot of unisex salons, not many barbers doing these kind of styles. So it was a lot more rounder in shape, okay? Now that's what we need to try and replicate today. Nice and high up towards the back, because I want to take length off the back as well. Again, it doesn't need all this length. This is way too long at the back. Even both sides. Comb this up and just wrap it and take it out the way. There we go. Now, essentially, I want to leave the fringe to be the only thing really disconnected through this haircut, because that's my understanding of this haircut, and the rest of it all seems to sit in nicely. That's what gives that longer effect, okay? Start off from the back, and I'm going to elevate the height at the top and start to create a very rounded effect. Right, with the head being lower down, it allows me to get more elevation, okay? So I'm going to slide in a little bit below the crown, lift it up and cut. That's going to create the kind of round effect. You'll see as he sits up and we taper it in, it'll have a more rounded effect. Now I'm not going to do a heavy taper. I don't want to expose any scalp exposed down there. Again, I'm looking for that 90s vibe-ish, 80s vibe. Same again, same height, about maybe half an inch from the section at the top. Lift it up. Being completely parallel to the section, lift it up and cut. Same thing. Get closer as we get to the ear. So what we create is that more rounded effect. So you'll start to see this haircut come into life a little bit more, okay? There we go, using the guide from the left hand side. As you can see, I'm not going too close. I'm still pulling that comb away from the scalp. I don't want to create a taper. I'm not looking for that kind of modern day. Now I'm just going to tidy up around the edges. I'm going to keep it very low. I'm going to keep it as natural as possible with a little bit of a cleaning up around the edges, okay? So I still want it to look like it's a fresh haircut for him. I don't want it to look as though he kind of needs to cut it. So just going to keep it nice and low, just off the ear, but nice and tidy, all right? I think it'll be nice for the finished look as well. Just switched to my trimmers. I'm just going to tidy up. Just cut it to the ear, okay? Again, not looking to make it look completely clean, as in like it's going to look tidy, but no big loop around the ear. If you look at what Johnny Depp's was like, it was kind of cut and left on the ear, because that was kind of, again, it was very sort of soft on the edges, things like that, but I think a bit of a twist on that will be well for nowadays. Not going to cut into the hairline, I want to keep that though. A size 5 comb. There we go, just to show off where I can do a nice natural edging. I'm not looking to taper it down any tighter than that. I think keeping a bit of length, the neckline's quite nice. So go with the razor, just on the very bottom, just to break that up a little bit. Make it look nice and natural. There we go. Just ever so slightly, just on the right hand side. Pick it up. I'm just going to break into the edges, okay? Just a little bit. I want us to have a bit of movement in there. Very wide sections. You can see that shape we've created through there. Just want to cut into a little bit. It's quite, you know, it's fine textured. The shorter you go, the thicker it feels. So again, I think this feels fairly thick down here. Switch them around so I can point cut again. And as you see, the sections are really wide. Let's bring all this back. Essentially, this is how we want to cut it. So one section off the front. Now what I want to do is work again diagonally across the top, cutting everything down here, like so. So essentially get a bit longer towards the front and a little bit shorter towards the back. Out, so that falls on itself. Same again. Let that fall into that section that we call scissor over comb. Get a bit longer towards the front like that. That just gives a nice little blend point in there, so as he brings it back, it's got the same style. That's what we're going for. And to the ear. Elevate and cut into it. Same again, working past the top now. Not a lot should come off of this bit now, if any, now. Same again the other side now. But I'm just cutting everything nice and balanced, nice and uniform now. So again, bring it back, you can have the disconnection of the fringe, but we'll balance the fringe out still as well. So it is disconnected, but you know, we still want you to be able to style it and kind of wear it as best you can, you know? Yeah. You see, leaving a bit of length so I can cut into it like that. So as it sits flat, you've still got a little bit of texture in there as well. It's not sitting too blunt. We completely elevate it. Like so. And that allows us to connect it into the back, see? Connects it in by the elevation. falls on top of each other, whereas it gets to the sides, it falls heavy on the sides. There we go. Look at that, you've got a lovely connection through the back. Still nice and top heavy because we've left that length here. It's very easy to connect a lot of length to it because it just sits very heavy. We bring this back, we've got the Johnny Depp heaviness to it. I'm going to bring that into the section we just cut into, like so. And I'm going to take some length that is going to work for you. Okay, now you pick the length. The haircut is done. You can just pick your length of the fringe you like. So, I know it's very hard to see like whether over your eyes, but let's just take a little section, okay? Would you be happy losing that much? So that would come down to you, like essentially you want this to come down to about here, to where the mask is, maybe a little bit about here. That's what I would suggest for you.
Yeah, I would definitely say like sort of towards the higher end of the mask.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, perfect. We use that as a guide, okay? Bring this down, higher end of the mask. I am looking at about there. That's what I'm thinking, just on the nose. But I'm going to cut it a little bit longer because it's wet and it will dry up a little bit. It's about there. Quite a cute angle. It's quite nice and choppy. Now I'm working around, but I'm not going to connect it. This is going to be completely disconnected. So I'm going to go a little bit higher. Now what I'm going to do from this section at the top here, I'm going to work on a profile guide through here. I just want to have that balance so the fringe is still disconnected at the front, but the section behind the fringe has got a slight connection. So working it through, that's the angle we want to work through. Think about it, the head concaves down. That length there that's heavy will make the fringe sit forwards. So all that weight, pull it up and straight. That balances nicely. And what we do, we take a section from our last diagonal section, bring it into the middle. Okay, because we want to over direct that fringe there. So bring it over like so, which allows us to keep a little bit of length in that corner of the hairline. So again, over direct, and just think about it, if you're trying to work more hair at the front, you pull it back. If you're trying to keep more length over here, you pull it over this way. That up. There we go, there's our guide behind it. You keep my fingers nice and straight, the head's tilted slightly. Over to the front middle. Pull that up, like so. There we go. Now that is Johnny Depp. Now, are you happy with that style? Are you happy with the length? Yeah? Awesome. Okay, mate. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a little bit of the Label Men Thickening Tonic, which again, does exactly what you think it does. Adds a bit of thickness to it. I'm just going to blast it through the hairdryer. I'm not going to style it with the hairdryer, I'm just going to blast it through to give a bit of thickness, all right? So with that in, make sure you scrunch it into the hair to get it right into the root. When you apply heat, especially with a tonic like this, a thickening tonic, it swells the hair. Okay, that's essentially what it does. The heat makes it bigger, and all it does, it makes it feel a lot thicker. But what that allows to be the base that we're looking for, to then apply a little bit of something afterwards if you want to, okay? Even if it's just a salt spray afterwards, just to get that kind of a bit more of a drier finish, all right? But it smells nice as well. So nozzle on, high speed, high heat, okay? Dead easy, just this. We're drying it all back, okay? I want gravity and a little bit of product to make that fall forwards. Don't want to dry it forwards, okay? We're drying it from right to left, and then from left to right, okay? And this just breaks up the natural pattern a little bit easier, okay? It doesn't create the center part, but you're not drying it down the center. That's nice and dry. Now just finish, turn the heat off, press the cold air button, and just start to cool that hair down. all this does, it sets it in, it stops it from going like kind of like frizzy and dry, but also it stops the product from melting that you're going to use afterwards as well. All right. There we go. I'm going to use a little bit of the Baxter California grooming cream. Okay, it's perfect for your length. It gives a natural shine. It's not a wet look. Okay, it's just a natural shine, but it's oil based and there's a lot of creams in there as well. So it's not just, it's an oil based product, doesn't look greasy. Okay, it all soaks into the hair. So I've used roughly about a 10 piece size. Okay, now I'm going to do through my hands, my fingers, don't rub it in a moisturiser. It's the best way to do it. And we just work it through the hair like that. So all it does, it gives a more of a natural finish. It doesn't look wet, it just looks like you've got a healthy shine in there, okay? Now you're rubbing it in, you're not styling it just yet, okay? Rubbing it all the way through. Like that. And then you style it, okay? So let's try and do it as close to Mr. Depp as we possibly can, okay? So I'm going to brush through that just to make it nice and smooth through the back. Okay, we want this to be a smooth style, not a really messy style in a sense. There we go. There we go. Now, how's that look for you, mate?
Yeah, it looks great, man.
Happy with that?
Yeah.
Let's show you the back. So essentially you have that kind of Johnny Depp-esque finish. So it's like what you came in with, just with a bit more style for you. So cut in a little bit around the neckline, so just so it's tidy. You see the longer layer sitting in, but it's not disconnected. It's just heavy, that's what we're looking for. And then you got that kind of slight disconnection from this bit here, but then you got the heavy disconnection from the front. That can go any way you want it to. It's uniform. It can go the other way if you want it to. It can sit a bit more in the middle. You can brush it back and let it fall. It's whatever you want to do with it. But that is essentially the finish. And I think from behind it looks so much like him as well, mate, to be fair. Same colour hair, like I said to you. I think it looks wicked, that, mate.
That's awesome. It's got a lot more shape to it now as well.
It really has, mate. You happy, yeah?
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Thank you very much.